Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today is another video of Jurassic World Dinopedia and we're gonna talk about the Ankylosaurus from the Jurassic franchise. Ankylosaurus is a herbivore dinosaur that lived during the late Cretaceous period on North America. Its name means fused lizard. He had bony plates covering his body and a heavy club at the end of the tail that he used for protection. He was able to swing his club tail strong enough to break bones. The armor on his back gave him an incredible protection, making it super difficult to carnivores to bite it. The bumpy parts of the armor of the Ankylosaurus are called osteoderms. The first Ankylosaurus bones were found in the Hell Creek Formation in Montana. Scientists have yet to find a complete Ankylosaurus fossils, but we do have a lot of parts of the body. It was 1.8 meters tall and around 6 to 8 meters long, and weighed around 4 to 5 tons. It is believed that due to its formidable protective features, the Ankylosaurus had few natural predators. The Ankylosaurus also lived with very popular dinosaurs such as the Tyrannosaurus rex, Triceratops, and Edmontosaurus. Ingen and Ankylosaurus osteoderms are pointy and spiky. They have a bigger tail club with a different shape, and the facial horns are broader. Here you can see the difference between them. The Ingen Clone strength is also not really known, because the only time we have a regular Anky attack something, it is the Indominus Rex, and that didn't do much damage. All the other times we saw the club tail being used, it was Bumpy. But Bumpy does have some problems because of her incubation that affected her full size. That may also have affected her strength. But as you can see from the Toro fight, you can see that the Ankylosaurus can do a spin attack. When in danger, a herd of Ankylosaurus will make a defensive circle where the young stay on the middle so the carnivores won't be able to reach them. Ankylosaurus like to scratch themselves on trees, rocks, or if there's no other option, a car. They are very social animals, they don't like to be alone, but they don't necessarily like to be on big herds, or with their own species. For example, Bumpy prefers to be with Ben. On JP3, we only see Ankylosaurus as a pair, we never see more than two together, rather than regular Ankylosaurus. And we're also gonna see one of the books that has an Ankylosaurus that likes to cuddle with Apatosaurus. On Jurassic World, park workers would give Ankylosaurus mangoes sometimes as a treat, and thanks to Camp Cretaceous we know that the Ankylosaurus can swim and probably like it. The first Ankylosaurus design appeared on Jurassic Park 3. It had a red face, a beige body with some purple stripes, and black osteoderms, and the club tail is round. They live on the dense jungle forests of Isla Sorna. Different than the world's version, this Ankylosaurus doesn't like to live in herds, just small groups. But sometimes it will also join herds of other herbivorous dinosaurs. This Ankylosaurus is 2.7 meters tall and 8.5 meters long.
You see, I told you.
The world Ankylosaurus has smaller eyes and no spikes next to the osteoderms of the head. The armor here are segmented keratin plates, and the club tail here has a new unique shape. This Anky likes to live with big herds and sometimes also lives with other herbivores. This model was used on Jurassic World and Camp Cretaceous. On Fallen Kingdom, the Anky got a new model that was used on the movie and then on Dominion. This new model has longer osteoderms on the head that are curved in a different direction, and the tail is higher and curved. And here is a drawing that I made comparing all the three different head designs for the Ankylosaurus. The world Ankylosaurus is 3 meters tall and 8.15 meters long. For the colors on Jurassic World, the movie has a blue filter, so if you remove that, you can see the true colors of the Anky. The armor has light brown, dark brown, black, and some yellow and white marks. The rest of the body is grey with a little bit of light brown on some parts of the body, like the legs. This color scheme was used on the whole trilogy. On Camp Cretaceous, the Anky has a lot of different colorations. We have a light blue, which only appears on season 1. I think they on the other seasons Bumpy is an adult, so maybe they wanted the blue one to be just Bumpy. That's why we want to see on season 1. Then we have a light gray and also a dark gray, dark brown, light brown, and beige, which I thought first it was the light gray, but no, because here we have a shot with the light brown, gray, and beige all together, and also Bumpy there. Camp Cretaceous, they have this thing where they give a lot of dinos a lot of different colors, which is really cool. But then you have sometimes, like you have on season 2, a regular Parasaurolophus during the day that is pink. but only shows up for one episode on the whole show. I don't. They have a lot of colors, but a lot of them just appear one single time. But on Camp Cretaceous we can see how a baby Ankylosaurus and a juvenile Ankylosaurus look like. They have a super short tail with all the osteoderms being smoothy and not pointy. On the Dino Tracker website, the Ankylosaurus used the same model and coloration as Fallen Kingdom, but the tail is posed just like the Jurassic World version, not curved like Fallen Kingdom. And now on Rebirth we're going to have a new Ankylosaurus design, but it doesn't have that many changes. The osteoderms on the head have a more horned look instead of a keratin, and the head is curved. The tail clip is more rounded, just like the first design. It is light grey with a dark grey for the back, and recently Dr. Pepper made a promo with the new movie and Jurassic World Alive. So here we have a new Ankylosaurus model based on the Rebirth for the game. This Ankylosaurus model here is just using the regular Ankylosaurus model but with a different tail club. Just a theory, but judging by the design, I think this Rebirth Anky is a middle ground between the Ingen and then the Mazrani. And I say that because they look like a transition between one another. The face is a bit more curved like the Ingen version, and the Rebirth one has a round tail, but the armor looks like just like the Mazrani version from Jurassic World. On the timeline, our first look at the Ankylosaurus is during the Cretaceous period, where we see a group of them drinking water. But here is the regular model of the Ankylosaurus, because they are on the screen for like 5 seconds, so it would be a waste of money from the studio to make a new accurate model, so they just reused the regular one. Originally, Ingen only had 91% of Anky DNA, and the first Ankylosaurus born were around the 2000 when Ingen was making illegal cloning on Isla Sorna. That's where the Spino, the Corito, the Cerrado, and the Anky came from. During the events of Evolution of Claire, one of the characters on the book mentioned that there are a total of 6 Ankylosaurus living on the island during 2004. During the construction of Jurassic World, some of the Sorna animals were captured and brought to the park. For example, in the book we see a female Sornoraptor, so it is possible that we have the Sorna version of the animal on the Jurassic World. Thanks to Camp Cretaceous, we know that the Ankylosaurus live around the zipline area, on big herd with other different herbivore dinosaurs. When our characters go to the genetic labs, we see an egg hatching. Bumpy. She gets an A because of one of her osteoderms is bigger than the other. And the reason for that is that Bumpy hatched earlier, and that causes some side effects, like one of the head bumps being asymmetrical and her adult size being roughly 60% the size of a normal Ankylosaurus. You can see that on season 3 when Bumpy is next to the other adult Ankylosaurus. When the Indominus Rex escape, she stalks a group of 4 Ankylosaurus and tries to attack them. 3 of them run away, but one tries to fight her, but unfortunately is killed. Later we discovered that Bumpy was with the group, meaning that the Anky may have decided to fight the Indominus to protect Bumpy. Ben decides to take care of Bumpy since Ben was the first thing Bumpy saw. She trusts him and follows him everywhere. When the campers try to go to the docks using the monorail, a group of pteranodons attack the monorail and one of them grabs Ben. When the rest of the group gets on the ground, Bumpy goes searching for him. Bumpy does find Ben and both try to survive the island all alone. Fortunately for Ben, Bumpy knows which berries are edible and where to drink water, and she also can protect him from compies. But not everything goes well, as Ben starts to get annoyed about Bumpy, because she occupies too much space and makes too much noise. So he gets mad at her and tells her to go away, and she does, which is sad. Later, Ben tries to fight Toro the Carnosaurus to prove to himself that he is strong enough. While he did get some hits, he was losing the fight, and that was when Bumpy shows up and both of them together defeat Toro. On season 3, Ben starts to introduce Bumpy to an Ankylosaurus herd, and by the end of the season we can see that the herd has fully accepted her, as we see them protecting her from the Scorpius Rex. Later, Ben and Bumpy make an Anky stampede as a distraction to Dr. Wu and Hawks. After that, the campers say goodbye to Bumpy and she goes back to the herd. On season 5, Daniel Khan goes to Nublar to capture dinosaurs to use his new brain chip technology. The chip inserted on the brain of a dinosaur lets you control the dinosaur. He captured a few species, including Bumpy. Daniel takes all the dinos back to Metacorp Island to prepare everything so they can be sent to Biosyn. When Ben discovers this, he runs to save Bumpy and manages to save Bumpy, with the power of friendship, because Bumpy didn't want to hurt him. But on this case, because of the armor on the head of the Ankylosaurus, it does make sense for the chip not to work. Because they need to chip the brain of the dinosaur. Because of the armor, it would make sense to have a bit of a trouble there, but I don't think that was the main idea. I think it was really because Ben and Bumpy, they have a bond together. Anyways, Bumpy joins the campers and the other dinosaurs at the watering hole. Just a quick explanation, the watering hole is the area that both carnivores and the herbivores gather together to drink water without killing each other. When Daniel Clone uses his dinos to attack everyone, the watering hole dinosaurs fight them to protect their home, and Bumpy joins the fight, fighting the Baryonyx Limbo. After everything ends, Bumpy was left to live on Manticore Island. On Fallen Kingdom, we see some Ankylosaurus running from the volcano, and later we see that some of them were captured to be sold. At least one was sold during the auction and shipped to Indonesia. But we do see a few of them escape from the Lockwood Manor. On 2019, the second episode of the motion comics, we see Anky having a territorial fight against the Triceratops. Unfortunately, we don't know who won, but this was the first time a herbivore fought another herbivore on the franchise. And since most of the art on these motion comics are traced, and you can see that they trace some of the Anky renders, they just gave it a random red for some reason. When Maisie, Owen, and Claire were staying at the Yosemite Park, they discovered a herd of herbivores. 3 Apatosaurus, 1 Parasaurolophus, 1 Gallimimus, and 1 Ankylosaurus. One of the rangers of the park named the Ankylosaurus Smash. She is a juvenile Ankylosaurus that has a bad vision, and because of that she thinks some boulders are other Ankies, and she keeps hitting her tail on them. The other herbivores of the herd had to learn to not get too close to her when she's mad. But she does like to cuddle with the Apatosaurus and take a sunbath. During a snowstorm, the dinosaurs got scared and started to stampede in the direction of a school. Smash got separated from the herd and got scared. This made the Ankylosaurus wave his tail around. Maisie, with the help of other kids, made a snow Apatosaurus, and because of the bad vision, she thought that was one of her friend Apatosaurus and stayed there with the snow Apatosaurus, calming her down. After the story was over, the park rangers managed to capture all the dinos, and each one got transported to a different area of the world. Was going to a Arizona sanctuary to be with a herd of Ankylosaurus. When Darius and Ben go to Sammy's ranch to tell her about their handler, Sammy shows that Bumpy is there, and then we discover that Manticore Island was being investigated, and she managed to transport Bumpy to her ranch. Later, when the Atrociraptors arrive to kill the campers, Bumpy stays behind to fight one of them. And later she gets captured by the DFW. Bumpy is then transported to a secret DFW facility where they are transporting dinosaurs to different locations of the world. When Ben finds Bumpy, she seems sick, she doesn't want to eat and keeps roaring and hitting her tail on the ground. After some time, Sammy realizes that the problem of all is that this Bumpy is pregnant and she can't lay her egg. With the help of Sammy and Ben, Bumpy finally lays an egg. They let Bumpy and her egg safely on the container, at least that was the idea. One of the workers takes the egg to be delivered to Siena Santos, and Bumpy is sent to the Biosyn Valley. Well, a lot happened to Bumpy's egg. It falls in the water, Kenji gets it, then another worker gets it, then Brooklyn gets it, and then she finally handles the egg to Kenji. Oh, also the egg survives the airplane crash. And after some days, the egg finally hatches. After being left alone with Nana, she lets Smoothie go to the garden so he can pee. But he decides to escape and goes exploring the world. Later, the campers find him almost being attacked by a Pyroraptor, but the Atrociraptors appear and start fighting the Pyroraptor. During the middle of the fight, they manage to get Smoothie and head back home so he can be safe. Plus, Gia made some cat ears and he looks very cute. When Kenji and Sammy discovered that Bumpy was sent to the Biosyn Valley, they decided to go there so Smoothie can be reunited with his mother. On Dominion, the Ankylosaur doesn't appear that much or does something. But if you remember earlier, I said that the Anky doesn't necessarily like to be on big herds. But besides the Cretaceous opening, all the other times we see Anky is always just two. We don't know what will be the Anky role on the new movie. But we know that Triceratops and the Parasaurolophus are on the movie, but even then they didn't get a new render. So I think since the Ankylosaurus got a new render, either is a recurring dinosaur or it has one big scene. On Jurassic Park 3, there is a deleted scene where we would see a trio of Ankylosaurus crossing a river. Originally, on Camp Cretaceous, Bumpy wasn't necessarily going to be an Ankylosaurus. A bunch of different species were also considered for the role of the baby dino. We see here a Parasaurolophus, there's Myosaur, there's even some carnivores like Eutyrannus and Carnotaurus. Thank you all so much for the support, and the next dino will be the Apatosaurus. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video. Goodbye.